Oh, I'm not even done. I didn't even get all the stuff I wanted to get. I'm starting the live prematurely. Typical Patrick in typical Patrick fashion. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing today? There's some interesting things happening in the world. There's some interesting things happening in my localized world. In the world near me, I guess. I mean, it might be happening in other places in the world too. Sure, I don't know. Um, bait. That's not what this is about. So I had this idea yesterday. Um, brain. I had this idea yesterday. Sorry for the light. The power went out yesterday. I'm pretty sure it was yesterday. It went out, it came back on, it wasn't storming, and now my light is acting like it doesn't know what the color white is. I'm like, oh, Clarinda, you have literally been on my mind. I should have messaged you. I'm doing well. How are you? It's been a minute. I just thought about you within the past week, but I've been working so much. I've been tired. So. But anyway, hey Kathy, how are you doing? How are you? Did it really? What? Oh well. Welcome, Yokoso. Eve, did you get my gift? It said it was delivered Sunday, and at first I wasn't thinking about it. I was like, maybe I should have put my name on it. I opted for the gift bag options just because, I don't know. I'm a weirdo. But anyway, I'm glad to see you all. Hey, Eve, how are you doing? Welcome. Excuse me. Yeah, that was me. The message said heart, and it was from Heart, and I was like, I don't know. I could have literally put a chili pepper and a heart, and that would have let you know it was me. Or I could have just put chili peppers. But yeah, how you doing, Holly? Hey, just getting over the flu. Going with the flow as us fishies do. I was thinking about being a Pisces today for some reason. Oh, because that's kind of sort of related to the interesting web of things that's happening um, in life right now. Apparently, yeah, no problem. I was in here Saturday, Friday or Saturday, and for some reason, I was just like, I should get Eve something off of her wish list because to return the favor, to keep that love moving around. So I did. Excuse me. I am tired though. I am exhausted. So I was at work the other day, yesterday or the day before, and I was like, the Mausolea Oracle of Souls deck. Oh, I was gonna change the light. See, look, this is what my light can't do. And my light, the lamp doesn't know what white is anymore. It just goes like orange. So, oh well, thank you. I appreciate that. Hey Siri, change lamp to white.
White.
See,
coming right up.
It does this orange. And there's this, I can show you actually. Well, actually, maybe I won't. But like, there's this color wheel because I don't know. They texted in the group, and okay, just look here. See, there's this color wheel, right? Oof. In the middle, it's all orange. It's only orange in the middle. I don't even know what that said when I held it up. I was like, let me not. And this is what I got now, so it's fine. Orange is the new white. Oh, snap. I didn't even think about that. Maybe I should do an eclipse reading. Hey Siri, change lamp to lilac. I'm feeling purples today.
Voila. Lilac.
There we go. Yeah, it just like the lights cut off and then they cut back on, and when they cut back on, it was orange. I was like, okay. And then I was like, hey Siri, we're live. Because when I say we're live, it'll go to white and as bright as it can. But now,
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Watch, it
Could
does
you
this
please
orange.
repeat it?
We're live.
All set.
I'm like, excuse me, I don't understand like what's not connecting here. Hey Siri, change lamp to lilac.
Okay,
All right.
lilac, it is.
So anyway, so what I'm gonna do, I am gonna read the books because the Mausolea has realms, and then I have the Yggdrasil Norse divination cards that also have realms, and I was gonna match the 7 realms. I think it's 7 or 8 realms of the Mausolea to the 7 of 8, or to 7 or 8 out of the 9 realms. And then I was going to see which cards came out for which ones and just read through like all the realms. But I'm not going to do all that today. I'm going to do one. How early is it over there? All set for the eclipse tunnel. Hopefully not. Like, can I get some light, please? Please, please. Where's the sun? It's interesting though, because I think with light therapy, not light therapy, but for people who get SAD, seasonal affective disorder, on campus, they had this thing in the meditation room where you could get light therapy. And so it would like mimic natural sunlight. And since it was like natural sunlight, it was more of that orangey color, like some street lights are more orange rather than just like the pure white light. So maybe it's telling me I need to get outside more. Who knows? So that's what I was gonna do. Now I'm gonna shuffle these cards, and I guess we'll just take the whatever cards come out. Because what I was originally gonna do was I was gonna pull from the top or bottom of the deck and just take the first card from each different realm that appears. Maybe we'll do 2 realms. We'll do 2. But it's so good to see you all here. Yeah, you've been on my mind though, Clorinda. You've been on my mind. And then I made it home after like a 12-hour shift and I forgot. So I'm sorry. I was like, I should check on Clorinda, see how she's doing. Traffic cone orange, cautionary tale. Ooh. And then I went on the app, like the app that the light bulb came with, and like to see if it had an update or something. And it's talking about like a speaker, and I gotta sign in. You have opposite seasonal problems. You need a darkness. Eva's like, from summertime is a nightmare. Wintertime is bliss. And I agree on a temperature perspective. I don't mind that it gets dark earlier necessarily, but then it makes the days feel too short. I'm like, I didn't, you know what I mean? But when the day is like super long, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm more of like an equinox type of person, where it's like, let's get a nice just half and half sort of balance going on. So, oh, you're in Texas, so if I was getting Texas heat, I wouldn't like the sunlight either. It's cool in the shade. Okay. So let's see. I'll do two. So let's see if I pull the first two cards. Since I'm only doing 2 realms instead of all of them, I'll keep pulling until I get 2 different realms. So if I get 5 cards in the same realm, then I guess that's what I get. I already shuffled up the mausoleum. We'll see what's up. I'll give it 2 more. 1 more. Last one. And I'm actually going to cut this one too. Oh, well. Or not. Oh, wow. I'm still going to cut it. So, this is interesting. One of the cards fell out. It doesn't get dark until 11 p.m. Oh my gosh. How do you function when that happens? How does your body know when it's time to go to bed? That's why people invented clocks, to keep track of the time, because then you'd never stop working, right? And you'd never wake up on the other side of the calendar. The card that came out is Emir, which is the giant ? That Odin and his brothers Vili and Ve created Midgard and some of the realms from. But he's breathing life into that Yggdrasil. Which is interesting. Also, Ymir from Attack on Titans, I guess. So Ymir is just down there. That has to be Jotunheim, because Ymir is a giant. Holly trying to freak you out. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Oh, I'm not reading that one. Am I? Nah. Am I? I guess I might be. I already got the book out, so why not? Ymir is the 5th one in the 2nd realm. Ausgarder. Jotunheimer. We're going to Jotunheimer. Oh, I was going to read the description of the realm. That's how I was going to do this. So Icelandic is Jotunheimer, Yggdrasil placement, east up and right, card position, the position of the seeker's challenges. Okay. So the position for this realm, if I were to lay them all out, the position of the seeker's challenges with regard to his aspirations, the adventure, the journey towards the goal, the enactment, the unexpected, the confusing, achievement, and implementation of the seeker. Jotunheimer represents the rational and the aggressive. It is a world that borders on violence, although it is an oversimplification to say that it is a violent world. That's interesting. It is a world that borders on violence, although it is an oversimplification to say that it is a violent world. It is a diverse and adventurous place full of danger and excitement. Jotunheimer is a world from which the gods originate. Bur and Bestla come from Jotunheimer. They are the parents of the first gods, Odin, Vili, and Ve. It is home to many families of giants of many different kinds, not all of them big and mean-looking, as we understand giants to be today. The Jotun kind, which in English are called giants, are of many varieties. Huge and strong or human-sized. There are stories of giants of extraordinary beauty, like Gertha. daughter of Gemir, who inspired restless love and desire in Freyr. The hunter goddess Skadi is also said to be a giantess. This is a lot. There is a constant and fatalistic feud between Ausgarder and Jotunheimer, but even so, the two worlds are inseparable and closely intertwined. Therefore, many of the gods from Ausgarder are placed in Jotunheimer, although they might reside in Ausgarder. They have a strong presence in both worlds. The gods of Asgard also belong to and have their origin in Jotunheim. Odin seeks his wisdom in Jotunheim for the head of Mimir, with whom he plays chess by Mimisbrunner, the fountain of Mimir, under the roots of the Yggdrasil. It is a world of intellect as well as war and turmoil, adventure and infinite possibilities. It is a world where sometimes blind rationality leads to mishaps, but also a world of wisdom, solutions, and opportunity. Okay. That was a little bit more reading than I thought there would be, but that's fine. Excuse me, I am so tired. So tired. They have 3 months of darkness. So all you gotta do is but I guess you do 3 months in the North Pole and then you do 3 months in the South Pole when it's dark there. So there you go. And then you spend the in between. So that's the realm. So is would this dude be their uncle then? What's up with anyway? So I'm pulling the cards off the top. And then I had another idea. I'm actually gonna do that. So I need a tarot deck that fits these two. I'll do the Threads of Fate. So my other idea was to have a deck on standby. See, this is too dark. I need my white light back. Bring back the white light so I can read. Please. And if anyone has a clarifying question or if we need it, then I'll just pull off the top. But I want to shuffle first. Can you even see these? There you go, kind of. Ooh, there you go. It's the Weaver Tarot Ascendant edition, I think this one is. I think the Journeyman edition is the other one. I just got a feeling like I might move before the end of the year, which is weird. I guess I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to it. So a few cards just fell out literally on top of your mirror, almost crossing it, but not completely. They fell out like this. It might be one card. It's one card. Ah! You gonna guess what the one card is that fell on top of your mirror? Guess. I'll give you a few seconds. It's the title card. The title card literally. Okay, cool. Let's do this. I feel like that's already an energy of creation. It's an energy of life mixed with the energy of creation because life has a flow, rhythm, and cycle of its own. And just because you create something with a certain intention and with a certain vision doesn't mean that the flow of life is going to have that exact thing come about. So long story short, it's things that don't go according to plan, even though you think you planned it out perfectly. So yeah, the deck is shuffled. I mean, you don't have to, but you can. Be like an uncle. Wait. A funkle? Ah, thank you, Holly. I appreciate it, even though I'm wearing like black today. This title card in particular, though, is interesting because this title card tells you what everything means, but in a very elemental way. So it doesn't tell you how things read in conjunction with each other. It doesn't tell you how to read multiple aspects as a thing. It just gives you the different, the just it's it just gives you like the suits and the numbers and numerology and the majors. It tells you what page they're on in the book, and then it also gives you different images that they use. So like at the top, like that's what the seeds, if it'll focus. There you go. You can kind of see it, right? That's what like the all that stuff means. And then they go into the numbers and the aces, kings, queens, knights, and then they go into the suits, and then they go into like where all the are. So it is, while it's like there is the element of life that it's like where life has a flow of its own, there is also some instruction on the basic building blocks. And if you know what the pieces do separately, you can guess at what they would do together. And then as the creation comes about, you can see what it actually is. And for some reason, it's making me think of like birth charts and stuff like that. Anyway, that car agrees. Oh, snap. So we start with Osiris, God King of Duat, holding the freaking is orange. That's the orange when I'm like, can I get some white light? And it's all this orangey, dusky looking color. But anyway. Okay. You ever like think, am I biting off more than I can chew? I promise you, Twitty, if you were younger, I would still be equally as clueless. So, I'm just I'm just me. Oh yeah, I know, fun uncle. Jupiter, the funkle. What? If this is Odin, it's not. It's Sinmara. Sinmara is from the eighth realm, and that's Muspo. Which is interesting because I feel like the realm of Duat would be the fieriest of the realms because it's like Egyptian. And it seemed like it was hot in Egypt and not necessarily in the other places. So that's these two. I guess I'll just go ahead and pull them. The next one is the Traveler, Keeper of the Crossroads, in a different realm. And they are coming out with Frey. From, is that Midgard? No, that's Alfheim. Alfheim. So Frey and the Traveler. I wish I had a little more space. It's interesting though that the sky in the Traveler, it's redder than the sky in Osiris. It's more and Clarindus did say there was like a splash of like root energy. Woof woof. So let's read these first two first. I don't know where this is going. Heaven. There will be a day, Twitty, where I might not get there. It does end up working out most of the time, though. Little House on the Prairie. Ollie. Oh, I want to do the other one first. So, Duat. Osiris. I literally opened up to the page. And look, my thumb is literally right next to Osiris. I don't know if you can see it. Okay. So the domain of Duat is the center of secrets, ritual, and mystery. In its temples and desert monuments, the true nature of being, reality, and creature are hidden. This is interesting because of Ymir, the giant whose body served as the foundation for Midgard and maybe some other realms too. And then we have like the title card with the code of like what everything means. The symbols, the numbers, the suits. And then here is the realm that is the center of all mystery. And I'm going to start again. The domain of Duat is the center of secrets, ritual, and mystery. In its temples and desert monuments, the true nature of being, reality, and creation are hidden, unlocked only through adherence to its rites and rituals. To dwell in Duat is to face the realities most. Wait. Oh, wait. To dwell in Duat is to face the realities most hide from most thoroughly. How well do you know yourself, your desires, and whether your heart and intentions are pure? For in Duat, these will surely be judged. It's interesting that it asks, how well do you know yourself, your desires, and whether your heart and intentions are pure? Because Jotunheim spoke of it's the land of challenges, something. What did it say? The card position. The position of the seeker's challenges with regard to his aspirations. And some may say that when aspiration meets challenge, the truth is born or the truth is shown. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone necessarily say that, but it might be able to be said. Hey, Zelda, how you doing? Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Wassail, Russell. How you been doing, friend? How are you healing? I saw some of your videos. I don't know if I caught them live. Well, I was working for a hot minute, and then Saturday I was a town over. You're hungry and you have a headache. Oh no! I hope your head feels better and you get some food. I'm doing well. The world is interesting. You did have to walk to school uphill both ways. Excuse me. Try to wax denture today. It stressed you. Oh no. What stress it though? Did you gag? Because I know you said like the plates could make you gag or something like that. So let me read Muspelheim. Oh, it's also in. Oh, no, those are elves. So we got Jotunheim and then we got Muspelheim, the land of the fire giants. So maybe the fire giants don't live in Jotunheim. Because it said that Jotunheim borders on violence, but it's not necessarily a violent world. And Muspelheim is violent. the most violent of the giants gets into Muspelheimer. And they used to be cool until, something happened and a fire was lit under them that no amount of talk could quell. Extinguish. That's the word for fire. A little, you spun through a wormhole and landed here in the stream. Yeah, you did. You said it just opened up. I can too. So Muspelheimer is south, down, and right. Where was Jotunheimer? I'm interested. Just like relative geography. East, up, and right. So they're on the right side. One of them is up and right, the other one is down and right. One's in the south, one's in the east. The origin of catastrophe, force, unforgiving, unapologetic strength, and warning is the card position. Muspelheimer existed before the world came into being, along with Niflheimer. It was the spark from Muspelheimer touching the ice of Niflheimer that began the first life, the proto-giant Amir. Oh, snap! Amir's like, let me tell you how I was born. Let me tell you who dwell in the world born from me. So is this like granddaddy progenitor energy? Like the world, the what? My brain can't even comprehend. My mouth can't even speak the words. Twitty's bringing everybody through the the wormhole. I have. Excuse me. I have not seen that show, Zelda. I just finished season 2 of Upload, and I did not expect how it ended. Um, from where it began, and I was glad that the season ended when it ended because I was done watching today. Regardless, I was like, I'm done. I can't watch anymore today. I can't take it. I can't take it. I'm done. I'm done. Shoots and ladders, queen. But everything flipped. Oh, two tests with Corey. Yeah, yeah. Is it that time? I don't know. Excuse me. I got off the earliest today that I've gotten off in a minute. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And then I don't even know what I did in the like 3 hours between when I got home, or the 2 hours between when I got home and when I started this. I was just existing. Watching you. Oh, I was watching Upload. Duh. I literally just said it. So, it was the spark from Muspelheim touching the ice of Niflheim that began the first life, the proto-giant Ymir. The word stands for a fiery element, a great power of heat, passion, anger, and destruction, but also justice. The dynamics of Muspelheim are ancient, unapologetic, and strong, potentially catastrophic. In its element, Muspelheim is a source for an intensely creative force that is so mighty it's not for a human to control. The positive aspects of fire are creativity, energy, power, and heat, and the placement of Muspelheim stands for all those, but also encourages the seeker to look into the origins of the feelings of lust, anger, and greed, and to take precaution so as not to be controlled by the negative aspects of fire. Feelings that are fiery, like the fire of Muspel, but not easy to control, can turn against the wielder on a dime. There's an interesting intersection here. Um, it asks us, or it puts us in a position to think about, and what the beginning of the entry or the challenge that Jotunheimer speaks about as much, and it's like, what's the basis of the world that we create? What's the basis of the life that we make for ourselves? Like, what are the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are the undercurrent that inform the choices that we make, um, both proactively and reactively, and just actively in general? Because it feels like it's like, if if someone experienced a certain type of hurt that they told themselves they would never feel again. And so every single choice and decision that they make is motivated by that, or it comes from that space. And so it's like that sits at the core of their world. That's what they build everything upon. And it's like the essence that something carries affects and influences everything that grows out of it. It controls, or it has the potential to limit what can grow. And it also feels like it imparts a piece of that essence on everything that is created from it. It's interesting though, because if this is Alfheim, then both of these share like the element of fire, but Alfheim is like a light, right? Muspelheim is the heat and the passion and the creativity of fire. It's the warmth of the fire. But Alfheim would be the light that the fire produces. And so it's not just heat. It also gives us the ability to sort of like see in a way. And I feel like I read a quote somewhere, or was it on my calendar, in the Farmer's Almanac calendar? It was on the Farmer's Almanac calendar. I'm going to tempt fate. I'm going to reach into my Farmer's Almanac thing, and I'm going to pull out some days. I don't even know if I put the rest of them in here. I think I did. I'm going to pull out a few, and we're going to see if it's the one. To dream of crocuses signifies happy new beginnings. Not that one. What day is that? February 24th. It was Flag Day in Mexico. It would be too. Am I asking for too much? American astronomer Henrietta Swan Leavitt discovered that some pulsating stars brighten and dim in predictable cycles. Her research allowed scientists such as Edwin Hubble to determine astronomical distances. The 11th and 12th of December. It's Virgin of Guadalupe. What's up with Mexico? We getting all these Mexican holidays. Nothing. Oh, wait. Do not hurry. Do not flurry. Nothing good is got by worry. April 27th. No holiday. Let's see. I'm going to try a little bit more. Maybe I'm asking for a little bit much. Maybe this is for you. I don't know. Come on. It would be really cool. It would be so cool if it came on. Next is October 7th. Keep your faith in all beautiful things by Ray Rolfe Gilson. And nope. Soil that is too. I've read this one live before. Soil that is too alkaline may prevent azaleas from absorbing iron, causing yellow leaves with green veins. To lower soil pH to the ideal range of 4.5 to 6.0, add ground sulfur or ferrous sulfate. And it's interesting because sulfur is the element that corresponds to fire. More flower. This is very floral. Honestly, work. I guess that part is interesting though, because it's saying like fire is also necessary to life. It's another key ingredient, and not everything. There are some things that need fire to grow. Crocuses. I was thinking cactuses. There are some things that need fire to grow. Think of everything that grows in the desert. Think of, is it CAM4? C4? Is it C4? C4 plants, like cactuses that grow in deserts. They have a different set of cycles than plants that grow elsewhere. I didn't get the quote. It was something zeal. It was like zeal without knowledge is like fire without light or something like that. I think that was the quote. Oh, I can Google it. The calendar didn't give it to me, but my brain did. Zeal without knowledge. Yes. Well, maybe not. Let's see. Let's keep looking up. Zeal without knowledge is like fire without light. It's a quote by Thomas Fuller. Zeal without knowledge is fire without light. That's the quote. Okay. Okay. Birch trees, I think eucalyptus, because Clorinda's an Aussie. I think she said eucalyptus grows after a fire, and I think bamboo might grow after a fire too. But I'm not sure about the bamboo. Plant-based milks today. Okay. There you go. That is your the return on your gift of giving us Russell. You summoned him here to give you that. Cinco de Mayo in California is crazy. Tomorrow is the 27th. I didn't even think about that. Oh, what month was that? Whoa, tomorrow is April 27th. Was that April 27th? I was like, here's a day that's not a Mexican holiday. Oh, it's just some random day tomorrow. I think it was April 27th. Hold up. I put them in the back. Yep, there's May 4th, October 7th, April 27th. Yeah. Do not hurry, do not flurry. Nothing good is got by worry. So maybe that's a message for tomorrow. Oh, maybe I should hold it this way so you can see the April. Look at that. I didn't even catch it. Okay. That's a little, okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. That's a little bit of magic that I can, I mean, I guess today would have been cool too, you know. Let me stop. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's still pretty cool. That's still pretty cool. Oop. Oh. Excuse me. Sometimes I'm like, why? This is one of those times when I'm like, why? This is one of those times where I'm like, oh, you know, I could have not gone live today. It's fine. I could literally just watched another show and then went to bed. It's fine. Thank you. I think you've done that before, and I don't even catch it. I'm like, wait. So the Traveler. The Traveler is not from Niflheim. I can tell you that. Well, I don't know where the Traveler is from. Let me read his realm. I think the Traveler is in the realm of. Is that the Public of Pandemonium? It's interesting that Justice came out, though. It's not. The Traveler is the same place as the Poet of Avon, I think. Maybe. And where's the Poet of Avon from? Not Irkala, but the other one. Sheol, the realm of Sheol. Or was that the Martyr was from the realm of Sheol? I don't know. All right, I'm just going to go through these from the Poet of Avon was from the Public of Pandemonium. Oh, the Traveler is literally right here at the top of the page. So, yeah, it is from the Public of Pandemonium. The city of Pandemonium and its surrounding lands belong not to the gods, but to the archons of human achievement. These icons bound themselves in life not to gods or faiths, but to human ideals, becoming idols and objects of veneration in their own way. To dwell in Pandemonium is to still be bound by the temporal goals and abilities of a human life, whether the glory of success or the haunting specter of failure. So I feel like again it's carrying through the energy of it's like the creation of a creation of a creation. Like Amir was born from the spark of fire touching the ice, or the spark of fire touching the ice was the first beat of Amir's heart. Amir, at some point, slain by Odin and his brothers to give birth to a world, Midgard, that we live in, and then we create our own lives and birth worlds, both lived in and imaginary, in works of fiction and stuff like that. And delusion, I guess, anyway. It's tough being a Pisces sometimes. I'm kidding. And I almost wonder, it's not that there's a dilution. It's like a level of access, I guess. Because it takes a certain amount of energy, it takes a certain amount of material to create something. And so it's almost like you lose that which was used to create the thing in the creation of it. And whatever you have left is what you have left. But that's when we create from the immaterial, not the immaterial, the inanimate. That's when we create with the inanimate. But just like in our own bodies serve as the habitats for, our microflora. And so, like the bacteria inside of us would know what it's like to live in a living, breathing thing. I mean, we live on Earth. So maybe in that way, we also know what it's like. I don't know where I'm going. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. This is interesting though, because the Republic of Pandemonium makes it seem as if there is no magic. Makes it seem as if there is nothing beyond what a human can achieve. But the other realm that we have is the Empire of Duat. It's Duat, the realm of Duat, which talked about the secrets, the mysteries, and let me read it because it said it so much better. Oh, come on, English! I need English. English. Do you speak it? Sorry. Sorry. Okay, it's this one. The domain of Duat is the center of secrets, which ritual and mystery. In its temple and desert monuments, the true nature of being, reality, and creation are hidden, unlocked only through adherence to its rites and rituals. To dwell in Duat is to face the realities most hide from most thoroughly. How well do you know yourself, your desires, and whether your heart and intentions are pure? For in Duat, these will be surely judged. These will surely be judged. And that's a line between both of these that I missed because Muspelheim also speaks of justice. So here's the judge, there's the justice. Or it's like one is the process, the other is the outcome, the verdict. I didn't want to say punishment. So I was looking for another word. Seagulls? Wait, driftwood. Oh wait, it's fine. Next will be the goose. See, that's the thing I don't like about Duat though, is rites and rituals. Personally. See, but that's so there's this energy here. It's like the secrets are hidden in plain sight. Like the secrets are in the code. And that was the birth chart type of feeling, because it's like it's beneficial in a lot of ways to know your birth chart, your gene keys, your human design. But at the end of the day, all of those things are telling you about you. And are you not you? And if you are you, then do you need anything else to tell you who you are? Are you not enough for you to know you? And so it's like we don't need a rite and a ritual necessarily. We don't need a tool necessarily. It's like I don't, it's not necessary. We might need it because of where we are, but it isn't necessary. It's like it can be done without it. That's why I don't like the word need, because it's like, because we can need things where we are, but there is like maybe like there are needs, but there are multiple ways to fulfill a need type of thing. So that's not the only way to fulfill that need. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry. This is a whole little tangent I was about to just fall into. It's like are you not you? Is the world not the world? And what was it? The power to be present and the wisdom to plan for the future. It's not necessarily planning for the future though. And so that's why it feels like Amir is coming out with the title card that tells you the breakdown. Like the world that you live in is more than enough to tell you. You don't have to go through rites and rituals to uncover and discover secrets. You don't have to go through grueling, nightmarish experiences, almost cracking and breaking your psyche in half or more pieces in order for it to be reassembled by something or someone else to get you to see things in a certain way. But is it helpful? Yes, because it makes, and that's the role of the Hierophant. The role of the Hierophant is to make things easier to understand. It's to make the woo woo and the spiritual and the ultra up there, to put it into like words that we can read to sort of get it. But if you live life, if you're present, the world itself, and maybe that's the thing about living in an organic world rather than living from something that's inanimate, right? If you take paints and you paint a story, or the canvas, the colors on the canvas, the words that you write on a piece of paper aren't going to rearrange themselves to tell you the story. Someone has to write it and then you read it. But it's like if you just splashed ink on paper and you ask the paper a question, then the ink in the paper will sort of move itself to give you the answer. So think any kind of Harry Potter magical wizard, this can tell you anything. It's like that. Like the thing itself is organic. The thing itself can tell you and show you. Now, translating it, when we talk about translating it, that's when we fall into the high priestess territory. And then it's like, maybe sometimes some things are lost in translation. When we need someone else to translate it for us, that's the Hierophant. Yeah. So I didn't even read Realm 3. Let's see. Why? Why am I doing this? I like my 23andMe report though. Geffen. Claiming new ground. Ooh, I like that. That's not who I'm reading, but I like the message. She's the one that walked the bull around, right? And we are in North Node Taurus year. So is this like mega conjunction in Pisces? What is it? Neptune, Jupiter, Venus, and the moon? Is that sextiling the south? Yeah, the North Node in Taurus, trining the South Node in Scorpio? Probably. It should be. I think it's still late Taurus. It shouldn't be mid Taurus yet. Okay. Who's Skriniar? Messenger and diplomat. Skriniar. Okay. That's not what I was looking for either. Alfheimer. Here we go. The world of light elves. So, center above Midgard is the location on Yggdrasil, according to the book. The card position is influence of the future and the conscious mind. So maybe when I said it's not about the wisdom to prepare for the future, it might be. Maybe not to prepare for it, but it's coming. I mean, the future is going to come at some point. So, you know. Did she really? Card position, influence of the future and the conscious mind, what works with the seeker, what propels their dreams, and or what lies ahead, human desires, human ideas, and future. Why is this so human desires, human ideas in the Republic of Pandemonium that's based on human achievement? It's the archons of human achievement, right? So these are your, I guess, I'm not even going to go there because I don't see it, but it's fine. And that came out actually in involuntary employment, which was fire, interestingly enough, about how we sort of pedestal certain individuals and how we will adopt sort of like their behaviors, how not necessarily, but how some people will adopt other people's behaviors and patterns and ideals and stuff like that because they view them as getting a certain thing that they want. And it's like, well, if you follow the leader, if you copy, then you'll get it too. And I'm not going to say that that itself is an act of blasphemy. Although the feeling did just like cross through my mind or field or whatever. Because it's like if there was an all that you believe in, is there is a creator, there's a God that you worship, then it's like you weren't created to be anybody else. That's why it's like it's almost an act of, that's why it's considered like blasphemy. Because like you were created to be you, and you would throw that all away to try to get what someone else has, and your means of accomplishing that is to become them in a way. When there's a whole you that you can be, that you were created to be. It's like, oof. But is that not a thing that people say? It's like, why did God make me like this? I don't believe in God because look at me. Anyway, sorry. I flipped the page. No, I gotta find it again. Hey, I'm still in the same realm. I went to 9. I went to Fulla. Literally the last person in this realm. Girl. I was thinking about numbers today, actually. So let me continue reading. So Alfheimer is the world of the Vanir, known as light elves, but commonly referred to simply as elves. It is a magical place of light and hope, visions and ambition. There are many kinds of elves, of the light and of darkness, but the dark elves live in Svartalfheimr. Alfheimr is placed directly between our world, Midgard, and Asgard, the world of Aesir. Sorry. It's close to our world. The reader can see the Midgard, The reader can see that Midgard is placed directly between Alfheim and Svartalfheim. Is that not what I said yesterday? Is that literally not what I said yesterday? When I was like, internally, you're an Alfheimer, externally, you're a Svartalfheimer. So they put you in Midgard because it's in between. Okay, speaking of the future, right? The future is now. That whole little thing, that's to let you know that the future is now. And even if the future isn't now, it's conceived now. You are literally in the act of conception right now, and it will be born. Anyway, Alfheimr and Svartalfheimr, the light and the dark elves, the conscious mind and the subconscious. Vanir is a term for all the light elves, elves of mountains, water, forest, and plants, and so on. There are many kenning. There are many kenning about Alfheimr. Kenning is a kind of poetic phrase describing and deliberately codifying ideas, theories, and concepts in the poems of the mythology. I should have known that. I was like, kenning, man. Well, I would have thought it was kennings. There are many kennings about Alfheimr. A kind of poetic phrase describing and deliberately codifying ideas. See, the deliberate codification of the idea is literally the same energy of Duat. It codifies everything so that you have to go through the rites and rituals to understand, to get literally what Amir is just like, here's the breakdown, girl. Like, you ain't gotta be initiated into anything to get the scoop. Like, you can literally just, I don't know, here's the card. Anyway, I didn't think that Alfheimer would, well, I guess anyway. Well, wow. How life imitates life, right? Um, oh gosh. That was a whole conversation in my head that is very Kenning, Kathy. Sparkle Farmer. There are many kenning about Alfheimr. In some texts, Alfheimr seems to be Freyr's domain. Elf, could come from the word albus, meaning white or foggy light. Vanir are seen as a second lineage of gods, the first one being the Aesir. There was a great war between Ausgardr and Alfheimr, between Aesir and Vanir. There are many references to that war in various texts and poems, and at the end of this war, new relations and marriages were forged, interrelating the two permanently. Elves are seen as the gods of the common people. They live alongside us, and when we lived more parallel with nature, our struggles were also their struggles. Icelandic folklore is among those where the elves are very near, even in the present day. They are known under the hypernym. Ooh, girl, nope. Holdefolk? Hudefolk? Hidden people. Stories about them and their interactions with humans are told in folk stories alongside stories of trolls and giants, but the Holdefolk are still present in Icelandic modern day folklore, as they once were in Celtic areas in northern and central Europe. They are very similar to us, but more perfect, more magical, and also more dangerous and cunning, sometimes even vengeful. In Iceland, they are still seen as guardians of nature. They appear to humans in dreams and through meditation and through mediators. Sorry. They appear to humans in dreams and through mediators, and they sometimes even find their way into public light, where they halt constructions that will bring demolition of their habitat. In mountain areas all over Europe, they live in rocks and cliffs. In northern and central Europe, variations of Vanir live in forest country. In wetlands, they live in water. Alfheimr is embedded in and intertwined with our human world as well as Alsgarther, which is interesting because that's what, like, it feels like that is the energy of these two together. It's like the domain, the Republic of Pandemonium, all of this like mystical, mysterious, magical Duat, the domain of Duat behind it, with like the information about the reality and stuff like that. Excuse me. It's there is kind of a thread of I mean, that's the zeal without knowledge is fire without light. This is the light of the fire, where Muspelheim is the warmth, is the heat. It's the heat. Because when it's real hot, is it warm? You know what I mean? Is it warmth if it's like too hot? It's heat. Um, wait. They drink birch. Who is Frey? Frey is spring and new beginnings. Sinmara is nightmare. That's interesting. I mean, that's what 5D New Earth, basically. I still have this whole deck. I mean, I guess I haven't been paying attention to the chat, so I wouldn't know if I should pull a card or not. I feel like something spoke of new beginnings, though. Maybe not. It's interesting that the Traveler is the keeper of the crossroads, because that it's like an intersection sort of energy, and we're talking about how Alfheim literally bleeds into this reality. So shout out to Rob Odinson and his dimensional. I watched that video, I think twice. I don't fully remember. I think he was talking about the story, the interaction that his dad had. Oh snap! I missed these. Oh, that's the milk of the cow that licked the salt rime to feed the mirror. It was a wolf in Rome, Romulus and Remus. Birch's new beginnings. Oh snap! Oh, birch water. Okay, gotcha. I was like, what? They drink trees. Crossroads, angry roads. That's interesting though. It's interesting because I looked up my mother's maiden name yesterday. I actually looked up the names of my mother's father's parents. So my grandpa's, my mother's father's parents, okay? And one of them meant like by the crossroads or something like that. The other one, it talked about water, like is Quay pronounced like key? Like keys and something else. So I was like, oh, the crossroads by the water, I guess. They were locations. They were directions to find, or they were geographical surnames. So, like how Moore could be a geographical surname for someone who lived in or near a moor, right? Uh, anyway, the thing about the New Beginnings, though, with Alfheim, it feels like that's the answer to the question. But to everything that was like in the domain of Duat, I'll read it again because if I can find the book, it was like, is your heart well, it was just like, is your heart and intentions pure? Are your heart and intentions pure? There's so much like human desire. Everything, well, first it was just desire in general. Then Alfheimer came out to specify human desires, human ideals in the future, or ideas, human desires, human ideas in the future. And then we have spring and new beginnings. So, I mean, that's just what happens. It's a possible result from us looking at the foundation that we build everything off of, the core of our reality. And it's not much different. It has a lot of parallels for obvious reasons to the core, I guess, core soul traumas and wounds. Because that's the light that everything is projected out from, right? So it's almost like we've been over diagnosing certain things when it would be a lot simpler to just go to the root. And again, Clorinda shouted out, it's like Clorinda said, it's like solar plexus mixed with the root, right? And that's literally all of this. Because the solar plexus is how we go about fulfilling our desires and accomplishing our dreams. But the card said, what about that heart though? What about your intentions though? Interesting. You say key for QUAY in UK. Okay. I thought it was K. Oh. Birch water is a very poor cousin of maple syrup. What's interesting though is and that was Muspelheim. So it feels like there are, and that goes back to like gatekeeping Alfheim as well. It's like there are reasons if Midgard is connected to Alfheim, but it's also connected to Svartalfheim, and you want to keep Alfheim and Svartalfheim apart, then it's like there has to be something. If Midgard is the in between, there has to be something to keep that from Svartalfheim from entering Alfheim. You know what I mean? It's like A, B, and C. There has to be something at B to make sure that C doesn't go into A and that A doesn't go into C to make sure. And so then that also informs the mystery and the rite and the ritual of the domain of Duat. And what that does is it gets back to the judgment. Is your heart and your intentions, are your heart and intentions pure? That's where you weigh the heart against the feather, right? It's in the domain of Duat. That's a lot of the Egyptian gods and goddesses. The Egyptian pantheon falls under the domain of Duat in this deck. And so that's less about a hierophant, high priestess energy, and it's more about judgment. What's like a tower judgment energy? Where you get something and then it's like, you know what I mean? See Turiel, Angel of the Mountain, but the Turiel that protects whatever from the avaricious hands of the greedy. Very Turiel, Angel of the Mountain. A lot of this is actually Angelarium Year 2, where it's like separation happens for a reason because humans are dual natured, dual aspected in nature. We are both light and dark. And so we are capable of very light, great things and very dark, destructive, grotesque, and horrendous things. And so it's almost like that's the reason for the rite and the ritual. Not necessarily to gatekeep in an informational way, even though informational sort of ways play out more physically and in real life. It's just, like, we don't want no trouble. That's why I was like, ooh. Oh, how life imitates and mirrors life, right? And so in that way, it's almost like this would be a test in and of itself. Because of this just got like a whole different layer. This, because it's the building blocks. It's nothing, there's not, it's very elementary. It's extremely, now for us being people who live on Earth in Midgard, who live in a Midgard Earth, and hopefully not a Svartalfheimr Earth, and definitely not an Alfheimr Earth. For those who live in a Midgard Earth, it seems very like mastery, advanced, master alchemist, master manifester, whatever. But it's like in reality, it's extremely like trivial and rudimentary. But it's like this is like the information itself is the test. Because then it's what do you do with it? What do you do with the power to make your dreams come true? What do you do with the ability to make that which you seek manifest? What do you manifest? What do you create, and how do you go about the creation of those things? Because that speaks to who we are as individuals on very deep levels. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, and 8. Oof. Oof, 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 oof. The Watsons. Watson and Crick. Who are Watson and Crick? DNA? It's the heavenly realm of the beings brighter than the sun. You think it's the highest realm, but that's just your take. Oh, gotcha. Sorry. It took me a second, Kathy. Watson and Crick? Or was that? Yeah, I think you're actually right. I was thinking of the DNA dudes who, like, there was a woman who like discovered DNA in X-ray crystal. It was X-ray crystallography. She discovered the structure for DNA, and then two dudes came along and pawned it off as their own discovery, and they're the ones who are credited for it and who got famous for it. And it was a woman. Oof. If we learned anything from history, it was a woman. And then a dude who got the credit. I'm just playing. Well, I'm not, but you know. Yeah, Watson and Crick were DNA. Lewis and Clark were the explorers. There you go. Sorry, no. This is a mini layered thing. That makes sense. I guess that's it. I want to pull the top card, so I'm going to pull the top card. It's the 9 of coins. Maybe that Sacagawea. Lois and Clark were Superman and his. Oh, Russ. I think it was Lewis and Clark and then Sacagawea, right? I always heard like Sacagawea, but we watched a movie and somebody said Sacagawea, and I was like, okay, Sacagawea. Uh, so nines feel like the end of something. But the end of it more like a border, boundary, or barrier, more so than the completion of something. And it speaks of fulfilling a capacity. And just because it's like if you take a pitcher of water and you fill up a cup, that doesn't necessarily mean that that was all the water in the pitcher. It's just that's all the water that the cup could hold. That's what the 9 feels like today. When I was out collecting water at work, it's when we filled up the cup. It has no implication on the pitcher or what's pouring into the water at all. It speaks only of the vessel and the capacity of the vessel. So for the 9 of Pentacles, the 9 of Earth to come out, maybe it's more so, it's like a lot of human desire is based on luxury, wealth, money, and like in that life sort of things, which is why I guess the 10 of Earth, 10 of Pentacles energy, it brings in an abundance that lasts multiple lifetimes. So it's by nature of that energy more than an individual life can sort of hold. And that's the 10 beyond. That's the 10 beyond the 9. It speaks more to the pitcher, speaks more to the source of whatever is filling the vessel than the vessel itself. I need another card to clarify this card. The 3 of Wands. So yeah, it's basically it. It's all about getting in abundance, which is fine. I don't think that's bad. But I think, and it's interesting that the 3 of Wands has 4 coins on it. So it's literally just focused on the moon, which again, it's fine because that is so much of our life, right? So much of our life is living. And money has the ability to affect many aspects and areas of life because of what it is and how we function in society with it. Things from food, shelter, housing, the quality of food, shelter, housing, medical care and attention, access to knowledge and information, and stuff like that. And you could go off the grid and not rely on any of that, live off of the earth for sure, and never need money for anything. Um, but it's like with the Nine of Pentacles and the Three of Wands, the thing, it begets itself. And I don't know how you take a cup and I feel like it's some kind of joke or riddle. It's like, how do you make a cup more than a cup? If we're talking about the cup in the pitcher. Oh, by drinking out of the pitcher. Oh, that was easier than I thought it would be. How do you make a cup more than a cup? How do you increase the capacity of a cup if it's already made? You just make the thing that the water is in the cup. I'm like, wow, that was like, okay. I thought it would be a little bit more hard to guess than that. And that's me. Like, I drink out of, where is it? Y'all see the thing I drink out of, right? Where is it? Where are you? Oh, of course, when I need you for illustrative. Oh, it's right here. Sorry. I drink out of this thing. Now, it has a thing for a straw. There is a straw in there. But I used to have like a half-gallon pitcher that I would just drink out of a half-gallon pitcher, and it was my cup. Oh, you shouldn't drink out of the bottle. You shouldn't drink out of the carton. Well, the carton is my cup. You drink out of your cup, I drink out of my cup. My cup is just a little bigger, and it's not about the size at all. Because if you have a huge cup and you can't drink it, then like, what's the point? What's the point of having such a big cup? You know what I mean? Then it's just inconveniently large. Anyway, and maybe that's what is sort of happening in a way. And, you know, at first we do have to fill our cup. Because how do you know if you need a bigger cup if your cup is never full? Maybe you fill up a cup in a space. It's like you do healing, you go about your journey, and whatever you do, you increase your capacity to feel, to withhold, or hold. And for a while, it's like you increase your capacity, it's being met. You increase your capacity, it's being met. And then maybe we have experiences where the experience is more than we can hold, so things spill over. Five of Cups, why not? But I think too, there may come points where it's almost like we increase our capacity to the point where certain situations, it's like it can't fill it. And so we find a different source that can. And it's like there's no, it's so black and white. But as people with feelings, it's so emotionally charged, you know what I mean? It's like it's not a judgment. It's just like it just is what it is. Like I got a 30-gallon cup and you're giving me 30 milliliters of water. Like that's me with them tiny little paper cups. That's me with my work water bottle when I forget this one at home or when I leave it at home. So instead of just maybe filling it up once during the workday, I got to keep taking my little water bottle to the machine. I fill it like 5 to 6 times. And somebody was like, "Oh, you need a bigger cup." And I was like, "Yeah, I have a bigger one, but it's at home." They don't see me when I bring my water to work because I don't really need to go down and get water. Um, but anyway, and there is a likeness in here too, but that's the energy of the pedestaling. It's like we seek that which we seek. We seek that which takes the form of what we seek. And so if we seek something earthly and material, we'll find a teacher of the earthly and material. And that's like not, if we seek the spiritual, energetic, ethereal, whatever, we seek a teacher of the spiritual, the shamans, healers, card readers, energy workers, whatever. And it's like that makes sense. But it's like if there's an awareness that we don't have. So we may not necessarily, like, if we don't know why we gravitate towards the things that we gravitate towards, then it's like it's easy for things to get lost. It's like you show up and someone's like, "Hey, how can I help you?" And you're like, I don't know, I thought you'd tell me." And they're like, "That's not usually how this works." Usually you come in with something that you want and I give it to you. I'm like, "Good." And they're like, "Yeah, okay, good. So what do you want?" "I want you to tell me what I want so that I can ask you for it. Can you do that?" And they're like, "That's not how this works." And then they throw you back into life. Sorry. Go and learn what you don't want. How about that? I'm kidding. Sorry. Or you come back, you're like, "Yeah, okay, I know I don't want that. Might not, I still might not know what I do want, but I know that I do not want whatever that was. So maybe try this again with a lot less that, and some, like, let's go for something else this time." Maybe you got to go through a few things that you won't like. And it's funny because I was literally thinking about that on my break today, because I'm going to be looking for a new job here pretty soon. I should be in the process of it now. I'm in the process of thinking right now, and I'm like, I don't know if I necessarily want to be in the same environment. And there's a different sort of perspective opportunity that I was considering. I was talking to a buddy about yesterday, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. And I was like, I know the environment would be different because although it might still be another lab, they do different, like there's a different intention and purpose behind the work that is done in that laboratory versus the one that I'm in right now. So it would be a different set of circumstances, a different set of challenges, activities and stuff like that. And on my break today, I was like, it's okay to take an opportunity like that to find out whether or not I want it. I don't have to know if I like it or not. That's the point of having experience. That's one of the points of having experiences, is that I would get to find out if I like it. And if I like it, great, I'm already there. I can stay. If I don't like it, I can just find something else again. Life is meant to be lived, Patrick. I was like, I wasn't like that. I was like, oh, yeah, you know what? You're right, Patrick. Anyway. Excuse me, my cup runneth over. Being kidnapped and sent to Earth. There's so many layers to this, all wrapped up in other layers, more layers. I would say all wrapped into one, but it's not. Because it's almost like the process of the discovery itself is riddled with discoveries. I'm actually going to do a third one just to see if it'll continue or to wrap it up. Oh, here's a familiar face. It's the Leper King. The Leper King is from the realm of Sheol, the realm that I thought the Traveler was from. It's literally the Leper King. And I knew that the Traveler and the Poet of Avon were in the same realm. So the Leper King again meets someone from the realm of Sheol, or someone from the realm, the Republic of Pandemonium, because both the Traveler and the Poet of Avon are from the Republic of Pandemonium. And this is interesting because we'll get there. Aegir. I love Aegir because what Aegir and Ron, I think it's Ron, and Aegir symbolize, they're like the mysterious other afterlife. That's like really cool. It's the afterlife that not a lot of people know about because they're not necessarily like dying of old age or sickness, and they're not warriors or fighters or dying on a battlefield. So the Valkyries aren't a part of it. It's like people who get lost at sea. Yeah, I feel like if I was raised under this belief system, I would literally drown myself. I'd be like, I want to go there with them, so let me get on a boat and just accidentally, oh my gosh, don't save me, keep going, I'm fine. My afterlife will be splendid. I'm taking the easy way. Sorry. I like how did people resist? You know what I mean? Anyway. Oh, look at this though. This is interesting. I am not in any way. It was a joke. It was a joke. I was kidding. I was kidding. This is a departure from the fire that we've seen. Dwayne the Beth. Yeah. That's why I was like, and not that, anything's wrong with hell, but is the Leper King gay? I have no clue. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like, I started in the chat a little bit more, but as it went along, I was lost. Excuse me. I was lost. Persephone knows. What does Persephone know? If the Leper King is gay? The Leper King did come out. Ooh, the Leper King came out yesterday, too. Oh, yeah, there you go. The Leper King came out. Oh, I get it. The Leper King came out the other day. My brain is slow. I'm sorry. Who can resist the call of Ran and Aegir, though? Like, it's fun. Their afterlife sounds fun. And you don't gotta fight like in Freya or Odin's halls. And maybe hell is lit once you make it past the bridge. I guess Baldur was there for a minute, so it had to at least get a little bit warmer while he was there. Oh, this is Jotunheim again. I'm actually going to read these entries. So I don't think I read the Leopard King. Did I read? I don't think I read the Leopard King yesterday. I think I just read the domain. I'll read the domain of where is he from again? I literally just said it. The realm of Sheol. I'll read the realm of Sheol again. Like Irkala, the realm of Sheol is concerned with bright and dark dualities, where Irkala focuses on the emotional experience. However, Sheol centers the extremes of human sin and holiness. To dwell in Sheol is to submit to the judgment of the absolute. Hold up, wait. Hold up. Oh, this card just slid off. Who is it? Who are you? Hello? Are you an ace? The Two of Cups. Oh, that's cute. See, the two. That's what people who. Let me stop. Anyway, the Two of Cups just lit off. Eve always makes me laugh. She's hilarious. um, Soul centers the extremes of human sin and holiness. To dwell in Sheol is to submit to the judgment of the absolute, to suffer between the difficult requirements of grace and the easy torments of corruption, and to have the courage to discover where you fall in your overall contribution of good to the world as well as evil. So it feels like there might that was the Poet of Avon and the Leper King literally yesterday, or not yesterday, the day before. The last time I was live. That was the Leper King and the Poet of Avon. And it harmonizes ourselves into the world. And it's like, I know it was difficult to be a light in such a dark place, but you did it. Welcome to Alfheimer. Oh, snap, wait. Sorry. I'm getting tired. Also, like, I don't know, I got like super goofy at one point. So the Leper King, sword of law, tested in his faith in life through extreme trials in both life and death. The Leper King is an exemplar of faith in spite of circumstances and suffering. For his faith, he was rewarded with the role of sword of law, a warrior against evil and deceit and Sheol. The Leper King provides a model of self discipline and tenacity, reminding us to hold fast to our faith and core ideals, even in the depths of the fire. Fire without light. Domains are bravery, self discipline, and faith. Interesting. And because history was what history was in the Norse pantheon and Norse mythology, it's almost like you can hardly blame the fire giants for Ragnarok. If you look at what Odin and his brothers and his children did. But I think there's also a part of this. There's like this greater understanding of it reads like what was done had to have been done. And it's like that's a part of this sort of recipe that laid everything out, is when Amir was killed. But again, it's like Alfheim brings in the energy of the future. It's like, do we want to continue to sort of play out the same hurts, pains, wrongs, traumas that were done before? Or do we bring it into something new? Do we bring it into something different? Are we the ones who say enough is enough? It ends with me. I'm not taking this forward. And I'm not going to be one of those, well, back in my day, we had to suffer, so you got to suffer too. Because it's like, okay, well, that makes no sense. If I'm your child or your grandchild, I feel like you should love me enough to not want me to suffer, especially if you know that certain experiences are suffering. Like, shouldn't you be glad that I don't have to suffer as much as you do? Shouldn't that make you feel like you made the world at least a little bit better in some way? You know what I mean? Anyway, all of that aside, um, and Freyr is here. Frey, spring and new beginnings. And these are new beginnings that are new beginnings, not new beginnings that are like the start of the same cycle of the old. It's like a new beginning. Like, we're not just hitting rewind and press and play from the beginning of the movie. Be kind, please rewind. No, like, we're done. Movie's over. Watch something else. And then who was the other person? There was someone in Jotunheimer. I'll remember. Oh, it was Aegir. Duh. Aegir with the good afterlife. Hospitality, abundance, and currents. It's interesting that currents is here because it was the undercurrent that was like the feelings, the emotions that we hold that motivate everything that's literally the soil for the foundation that everything that grows in our lives. Aegir is the magnificent giant god of the ocean. Like we get some water giants now. We've seen fire giants, and the whole realm of fire giants came out. Aegir is the magnificent giant god of the ocean and friend to the Aesir. Oof. The Aesir chose a side. Anyway, he is one of the pagan gods documented all the way back to ancient times. He is the son of the king of Niflheimer. Oh, snap. He's the son of the king of the ice place that the fire touched that gave birth to Ymir. So it's almost like we got one side of Mimir's parents, parental, whatever. Now we're getting the other side. Anyway, he's the son of the king of Niflheimer. He is husband to Ran, the sea goddess, and is thought to have either 9 or 11 daughters, who each represent different characteristics of ocean waves. The name Aegir means the sea giant and makes reference to his awesomeness. He is an important god to seafarers, and those who perish at sea neither go to Valhalla or hell, but are gathered by Ran and put in Aegir's realm to stay there in the afterlife. In the mythology, he is an illustrious host, gives excessive feasts for the Aesir, and brews the famed ale. I'm not even going to try. That's not the name. It's MJ Mother. It's Mother. The famous ale Mother. This card is associated with the currents of the ocean and its strength and vastness. Those are the elements of Aegir. The card represents hospitality and abundance. Aegir lives on an island now called something, and that's where he receives his guests for his feasts. If he is accompanied with his wife Ran in the spread, the qualities of hospitality and merriments are strengthened in the card. But if any of his daughters are around him, the card might be conveying changing currents around the seeker. Some changes might be taking place in the environment for the seeker to be aware of and move with. Changes taking place in the environment that we should be aware of and move with. Interesting. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I hope you all have a good whatever whenever you see this, and I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I do want to look at the bottom of this deck. Is that the Ace of Swords? It's the Sovereign of Swords, which is the Queen of Swords. No. Yeah, the Sovereign of Swords is the King of Swords. This Queen, the Sovereign is the Queen, the rulers are the kings. So we have the Queen of Swords and the Sovereign. And then we have the Leper King, which is the Sword of Law. So it's like a King and Queen of Swords type of energy. But there's a lot of butterfly and wings and roses on this Queen of Swords. There you go. There's something about this that presses into the veil. It doesn't pierce it, but it's almost like if you have like a balloon and like you press, oh snap, it's Rob Odinson. How you doing, Rob? Are any of his daughters a water phoenix? I have no clue. Sorry. The Florida Keys. No problem. That's just me saying I'm done. I mean, I feel like that's it. It's like if you have a thing and like when you squeeze it, it's easier to see. It's like that. So it doesn't pierce it, but in the pressure that's applied, it actually clears things up a little bit. It's enough to change a perspective. It's enough to change a mind without sort of everything being revealed, which is interesting. Maybe it's a question without an answer. Oh, title card. Why you do that? Maybe I should try to pick one more day. Knowledge without zeal is fire without light. But light itself doesn't give any warmth. Because that's the heat. That's the fire. The fire of light gives warmth through heat. And that's why that little bit of ground sulfur will help your azaleas. Ooh, azaleas. Azaleas. Pick a card for Rob. What? What card? From where? From which deck? I'll pick a card for Rob. All right, what card? What card am I picking for Rob? Sir Professor Nordplow Odinson of the Norse. Sir Professor Nordplow Odinson Skywalker. Sorry. Don't want to forget the Skywalker. Sir Professor Nordplow Odinson Skywalker of the Norse. I will gladly return the favor. The Robbiest deck. Pick Thor. So the Yggdrasil Norse divination cards? I feel like maybe the Yggdrasil would be the Robbiest out of the three that I'm using right now. Is this a card for Rob, or for like the collective on behalf of Rob? Do I pick a card and read it how I think Rob would read it? Well, according to Nietzsche, Yeah. So I know I do it every time. I need to come up with some more material. It's getting kind of stale, you know? Nietzsche's getting a little stale. So we will pick this. This isn't for Rob. Is that the Eight of Pentacles? This is the Eight of Coins. This is to summarize everything that's already happened. I'll get Rob's card after I shuffle these away. Collective with Rob's nod. This one is interesting because here's an Eight of Pentacles. I love this Eight of Pentacles over the Nine of Pentacles because it's like this one is working with multiple layers and it's threading them all through the needle. You see that? Now, that feels like a level. It feels like it would be perceived of as like magic or a mystery, but it's very like knowledge. It's almost like the title card gave us what everything does individually. This Eight of Coins is the master of weaving them together to create a desired outcome. And it somehow is able to account for the randomness of life in the generation of that creation. The bottom of the deck is the Fool. I wouldn't say it's never been done before, but most would say it's foolish to try. So interesting. I love how that ended. I love where that ended up. Cute. Cute, cute, cute. Very cute. I've read it at first. Cups. Are we going back to cups? Wait, what? Hold on. Rob. Okay. Now I'll do the Mausolea, and then I'll just get a Norse divination card on Rob's behalf for a collective. We were talking about beer the other day. I didn't think about you when we were talking about beer the other day, but I mentioned how I love Guinness because you said Rob and cups, and it made me think of Guinness. Guinness is good. I was like, Summer Shandies, Guinness, 312, Goose Island, ales and lagers. Anything else? Oh, yeah. Mermaids wear sea cups. Ah, I get it. I forgot about that. Kind of. It's not the size of the cup. It's how much liquid it can hold. And the kind of liquid, because you don't need a gallon of Everclear. You know, like a shot glass is more than enough for Everclear. So tiny cups are preferred in certain situations. Okay. Is Guinness dark? I think Guinness is dark. Stop yourself. Oof. I'm the type of person, though, if there's a cup in front of me, even if I'm not thirsty, even if my belly is full, I keep drinking it. It's so hard for me to not drink from a cup. And it can be literally anything. It can be water. And if there's anything in it, I will keep drinking it. As long as it's not empty. I have no willpower. I do. But, ooh, okay, he's new. This came out the last time I was live, and Holly said the word. The card didn't come out, but the energy came out. Self-realization. It's Arthur. Wait. The champion of Avalon. Arthur. Companionship, nobility, and self-realization. We haven't seen this realm yet. Love that. Especially for that Eight of Pentacles, like weaving. Self-realization. Bottom of the deck is Abraham. I ain't seen Abraham. I mean, we've seen the domain of pandemonium, but Abraham is justice of pandemonium, and it's justice, truth, and duty. Oh, look, he's got little scales. Look at the little scales. That's so cute. So we got justice, truth, self-realization, nobility. I'll read Arthur. Maybe I should read both of them. I'll read Arthur. I'm intrigued to see what Arthur has to say. We're looking for... There's Morgan Le Fay, so we're close. Arthur. Excuse me. The champion of Avalon. The memory of an ancient and goodly king. Arthur seeks to restore himself to himself. Oh, snap. I got to do this because I got to see in this. The light isn't as bright as it looks. So Abraham is a dope dude. Skills. Well, we did talk about, depending on the substance, you might not want too much because it cannot be a good. It can be a not good thing. It can also not be a good thing to have too much of a not great thing. The memory of an ancient and goodly king, Arthur seeks to restore himself to himself, that he might pit himself against evil and aid all those who are lost and do not know themselves. He accomplishes this by testing himself against his enemies, and only in his darkest hour does he relearn his true self. He does not fight alone, but fits himself with his famed and ancient weapons, and surrounds himself with knights who match him for valor. Who match him for valor, nobility, honor, and faith. Arthur instructs us to seek our better natures and reminds us that even the greatest warriors do not battle evil alone. That's interesting because the Leper King had a very similar message about sort of like, holding to your ideals, even though the very world around you may challenge them. And the Leper King also mentioned faith, I think, under his domain. Where's his, let me see, I can find him real quick. Somebody had a domain of faith, and it had to be the Leper King. I mean, it could have been somebody else, but it might have been the Leper King. It's not Osiris. Yeah, the Leper King, his domain was faith. This is very similar to the Leper King in energy. Interesting. I mean, they're both kings. They both have swords, so it's not that surprising. And then we got a whole Abraham at the bottom. Abraham's domains are justice, truth, and duty again. So. Where is the box for this deck? Microdosing. Who was something? Somebody. Someone was saying something about microdosing. Rob says it's tinnitus. I think I saw that video. I don't remember it. Oh, the spin test. Yeah, that's what it was. I remember now. Ooh, that's interesting. I feel like I don't often get that pain on that side. Oof. Cue all the pain. Oh gosh. My back is Speaking of, how's your shoulder? Is your shoulder doing any better, Rob? I feel like you haven't mentioned it in a video, at least that I've seen lately or recently. Is your shoulder doing any better? Ow. What did you eat for dinner? Are you experiencing heartburn? Do you get heartburn? Is heartburn a thing? Indigestion, nausea, headache, upset stomach, indigestion, diarrhea. There's a Pepto-Bismol for that. I wasn't gonna take her. Verdandi came out. The future. The Norn associated with the future. We've talked about the future. But she's not doing anything. She's just like sitting there. I'm not going to take her, but she did. The Norn associated with the future did make herself, her appearance known. So, doing a bit better. You got a massage from a retired Army Ranger sniper. What? So was he able to like pinpoint the things and like with pinpoint accuracy? You had pizza? With the rifle? Okay. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, snap. What? An exchange of services. Okay. A card. Oof. One card. Maybe two. Not 15. On behalf of Rob for the collective at large. From Rob's nod to mine to... There's too many. I said like not 15. So how many cards is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards. This is interesting though. Because numerologically, a 10 is a 1. So 10 cards fell out, and then 1 card fell out. And the 1 card that fell out is Scold, which is the Norn associated with the past. So we got the Norn of the future before. The Norn of the past came out by herself. And then Grimnir, the balance of contraries, is in between. And Grimnir is interesting because he holds both the flame of Muspelheimr and the ice of Niflheimr. And the past and the future, in a sense, could be contraries when it comes to time, just as fire and ice can be elemental contraries. This video's over. I'm done. Oh, brain, wait. Okay, that's too many. We're going to put them back and get like one card. I'm kind of regretting using this deck. Because there's a whole bunch of cards in here. I don't know. So I'm going to not do Rob's. I'll try. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll try. It's also Odin in disguise. Odin acting like he knows balance. Maybe that's maybe Odin learned the balance. Was slaying a mirror. Was it worth it, Odin? All those things that you did that leads to Ragnarok. Was it all worth it? Or do you know something a little bit about balance now that you learned your lesson? But that was literally Arthur, was it not? He faces his trials himself so he can help others do the same. And in a way, that is the resolution to some of that. Like, the past is the past. What happened and occurred happened and occurred. But we don't have to continue to live that and to continue to play that out and to go through those cycles over and over and over. Let experience be wisdom to bring in different experiences. So that's literally what I said yesterday. I was like, Odin is going to teach me about balance. Have you seen what Odin's done? It's like the past is in the past. That's who Odin used to be. Odin's different now. That means he grew and he healed. I don't like myself sometimes. I'm kidding. I think another one was the one of games, who always wins. What's his name? I don't remember his name. But he like always won games or something, and they said it was one of Odin's aliases. Okay. So one card, please, and I will shuffle until it comes out. One card might be a lot to ask on this deck, but I'm doing it. I kind of want to pull another calendar day. Using the everyday calendar from last year was fine. That's why I kept all of them, by the way, so I could use it if I wanted. I have a pun calendar this year, and the pun yesterday was long fantasy stories have a tendency to drag in, but it's like they have a tendency to drag on. There are a few puns that are better read. It's easier to understand when you read it than when you hear it. Because the one today, it was like, I burned my Hawaiian pizza. I guess I should have baked it on aloha temperature, like on a lower temperature. I was like, oh, that's funny. Somebody was just talking about pineapple on pizza. Which is the North version of Robert. Yeah. Because I was literally thinking about the Almighty Johnsons, because Odin was going for Frigg. The Frigg, right? Odin was going for Frigg, and Mike, I remember his name was Mike. It was Mikkel. They called him Mikkel. And he was like, oh, well, the god that I am is also, that's how I knew he was the god of like winning games. But in the mythology, like, he was Odin in disguise. He was like, I'm also Odin, so I could be with the Frigg. She could be mine. Anyway. I remember his name was Mike, but I can't remember what the other name was. I'm not getting anything. Oh, my throat is getting whatever. Okay. It was old. ULD? Maybe? Maybe not. I don't know. Okay. Are you ready? Oh, there we go. Thank you. Well, oh, one card flipped over. I think it was one card. I'm checking now. Gird. Artfulness. Bottom of the deck is Sigan. Loyalty. Gird from Alfheimer. Gird your loins. Let's see what Gird's about. Gird is the 8th one from the 3rd realm of Jotunheimer. There's Volley. Volley. Girther. Gerd is wife to Freyr and daughter of the giant Gymir. Or Gymir? So we saw Freyr earlier. Here's his wife. Freyr was Spring and New Beginnings. Gerther is seen as an earth goddess, although her roots lie in Jotunheimer. She is placed in Alfheimer, as that is where she lives alongside her husband. Gerther was seen as a goddess of cultivated land. Her name means enclosure, and she might be seen as a goddess of what is fenced in or designated, such as farmland or field in the olden days. On a broader note, she brings an element of protection. She is the enclosure that keeps the unwanted out and protects what is within. It is so funny that this says she is the enclosure that keeps the unwanted out and protects the within because of the fence. Okay, that was just interesting. Oh, am I being called out right now? It's like, hey, you know those like cards you got from Rob? Like, it'd be great if you actually took some time to, I don't know, like dig into this. This isn't about me, it's about the collective. You don't have to read me through me for me, okay? So I'm gonna read the rest of this after the live, and I'm gonna shuffle out a different card for the collective. Oh, I'll finish it. Yeah, it's very fail. I thought of fail. Yeah, she is. That's what it was. Oh, okay. Sorry. On a broader note, she brings an element of protection. She is the enclosure that keeps the unwanted out and protects what is within. In the spread, she offers protection for the seeker. She is not without vulnerability, though. Under threat, she gave in to Skirnir's threat of magic. When Freyr sees Gerther, he becomes intensely lovesick and sends his servant Skirnir to convey his message of love to her. Hold up. This is already confusing. I just reported this. I don't Yeah, I saw your comment or your post. Ooler. I think they just called him Ool in the show, though. That's actually how they caught Heimdall, which was interesting. They made it a game. They made it a game to catch Heimdall. And since he was the god of games and he couldn't lose, he won. So I guess that's an interesting part of that. It's like when you know your strengths You can play into it's like playing into your strengths to overcome or to win a seemingly impossible situation. It's when the unstoppable force moves the immovable object. Or when the fox, no, was it a dog and a fox? What was it in Greek mythology? There was the animal that always caught its prey, and then the animal that always escaped its predator, and they just chase each other forever. Um, when Freyr sees Gerther, he becomes intensely lovesick and sends his servant Skirnir to convey his message of love to her. Gerther is reluctant at first, even when offered precious gifts. She is eventually persuaded under the threat of the three magic staves of Opal, Athal, restlessness, Urgi, aggravation, and ivy, madness. They do enjoy a happy union, and if they show up together in the spread, they reinforce the notion of growth and fertility in human endeavor. And it's extremely interesting that now, because of her appearance, we're emphasizing growth and fertility in human endeavors. And that's literally what Ausgarther is the realm associated with: human desires, human ideas, and the future. So then that brings in the eight, because it's like first it was just desire in general, then it was human desire, and then it's the human that has those desires. And it takes me back to the Eight of Pentacles, and it speaks of an alignment where there's like a greater cosmic flow, and then there's a global flow, a local flow, and then an individual flow. And when all of those things meet, there's a great acceleration and a decrease in activation energy, a decrease in what needs to be done to bring something to fruition. And it feels like that's a part of a certain fertility and abundance. It's because it takes advantage of so many like natural processes and shifts. And I don't know, like we didn't see his daughters, but when Aegir came out, it said if he is with his daughters, then it means there's a change in the current. And what was the end of Aegir? Because it said something about a change in the environment and flowing with it rather than fighting it. Um, but if any of his daughters are around him, the card might be conveying changing currents around the seeker. Some changes might be taking place in the environment for the seeker to be aware of and move with. Um, but anyway, let me finish reading this one. So she was persuaded because she was threatened with magic. Magic of restlessness, aggravation, and madness. So that's just, it feels like it increases from that restlessness. Without sleep, first you become aggravated and then you become mad. You lose your mind. You go look crazy. That's why it's important to go to sleep. And I was watching a show, and there was a dude who stayed awake for days, and they were like, if he doesn't go to sleep, he's basically gonna crash, and then he's gonna be lost. So get him to go to sleep. He was tempted with what you might imagine would get a guy in the bed, and instantly fell asleep. Anyway, sorry. Which was an interesting threat. Threats didn't work on him. Threats didn't. And you said so. The dude in the show, he was military. He was like a commanding officer or something in the military, which is interesting because you talked about the ex-military guy who did your massage. Um, and he in the show, his character is so like you wouldn't necessarily believe him, but he was the only person to realize that their dreams were being tampered with. He was the only person to realize that he was being watched when he was asleep. And they're like, "You're crazy. That's not happening." And then someone's like, "Yeah, he's actually right." And she was like, "What? He's never right. He was right about that. That's why he didn't want to go to sleep, because they were stealing his dreams." Everybody thought he was crazy, but then that only happened because of some other stuff that happened. So there's a whole bunch of like, there's this interconnected web of things behind the scenes, like seemingly. And it's interesting that the balance of the contraries is here, because there are these things that are like seemingly opposing in nature, but somehow, some way, even though one is against the other and that one is against the one, they're working together to make some stuff happen. Anyway, sorry for the tangent. I'm not sorry for the tangent. It's a part of it. It's a part of the experience here. Okay. It was interesting though that he was the only person that noticed. Forrest, she was threatened. I guess Forrest is interesting because she could have suffered restlessness, aggravation, and madness. So yeah, she was forced. Cookies get you into bed and pillows and a glass of warm milk. Are you serious? I didn't expect for that to resonate at all. I didn't expect for that to have any kind of parallels or whatever. But yeah, in the show, um, he noticed. And because he made a comment, he was like, I know what war is. I was over there and I know when somebody's watching me. I know when something is happening and something's happening. And he was causing a scene in public, and they're like, no, like, you're fine. They're like, he's crazy. Don't listen to him. And then you keep watching, like, oh my gosh, they're actually doing this. It's actually happening. So he wasn't crazy. But what they ended up doing after that though was, so the person that got him into bed, he was having dreams about her, and they were taking those dreams and uploading them to websites. So then he got they changed his dreams, so he has these like super PG dreams and he hates it. So anyway, that happened in the show. I literally watched that episode last night and today. So anyway. Hello, David. Not glad to hear that. Is that a thing? I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to spoil the show. And if you start the show, like, it's like the second season of the show was wild. There were so many things that I didn't necessarily, there were a lot of things I didn't expect. Not that I necessarily had any expectations. Is that a, okay? I didn't expect this. I mean, I never have an expectation, but this is definitely, maybe that's what I get for saying, that's what we get for, oh gosh, that's what I get. See, this is why Scooby Doo is Scooby Doo. I say leave it to Freddy, leave it to Velma, leave it to Daphne. I'm just trying to eat with my dude Shaggy. We just trying to have a good time. Ain't trying to be chased, ain't trying to be threatened. You can have the museum, you can have the amusement park. I literally came here for a funnel cake and I'm gone. Your reasons are your reasons. I don't need to know. I'm fine living my life. Oh, sorry. Protective. Yeah. I already forgot that. Gert is like, we're protecting you. You're good. Okay. So Gert is coming out with the message that if you are experiencing any of that funky, weird nighttime, dream time, sleep stuff, there's an element of protection that's coming in. So thank you for grounding me in that, Rob, because I was about to take a Scooby-Doo spiral and just skedaddle. And I remember you mentioned, because I talked to Rob a little bit after that. I sent him a message. I was like, hey, like I kind of sort of started following a thread from the reading, but I didn't make it far. And then I forgot. But he was talking about the abundance on the other side of the fence or whatever. I was like, I feel like they're literally like, come on, Scooby, you can have a Scooby snack. We'll give you a Scooby snack because there's some work for you to do now. I'm like, I've seen Scooby Doo. I don't know if a Scooby snack is worth it. I don't know. I don't know if a Scooby snack is enough. I can go to the grocery store and buy Scooby snacks. Like, you know what I mean? There are other ways to get Scooby snacks. I'm kidding. Let me stop. Okay, let me ground myself back in this. Okay, let's put ourselves back in the moment. Not that that tangent didn't bring something about that was obviously meant to come about, but let's keep it moving before I forget where I was. They do enjoy a happy union, and if they show up together in the spread, they reinforce the notion of growth and fertility in human endeavor. While Gerther is goddess of protection, she also stands for beauty, for what is attractive, naturally charming, and artful in appearance. The card indicates a natural beauty surrounding the seeker's endeavor and can also indicate artfulness in an isolated undertaking related to home and family, as well as what is enclosed near the seeker's heart. Near the seeker's heart. This is a lot of seeker for me not to pull. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pull before and after the Seeker and the Spirit Keeper's Tarot's Vitruvian and Revelation editions. And we'll see, and then I'll end this so I can go to sleep because I've gotta work tomorrow. So like, you know, I'm not a dog. I can go to the grocery store. Can you buy abundance at the grocery store? But I'm not trying to fall for devil energy. No, that's a new level of cruelty. Abundance is my birthright. I should not have to do anything for it, and I should be naturally abundant. Darn it. I am claiming my birthright right now. If I don't want to peek over the fence, if I don't want to do the work, I should still be compensated for it. I shouldn't have to go to work to get paid to live this life. Oh gosh. Okay. I'm gonna take these decks as they are. So I'm not gonna shuffle them. I'm just literally gonna open them up and pull before and after the Seeker because it mentioned the Seeker so much. And I'm gonna start with the Revelation edition first. Of the SKT3. I feel like I barely use any of the decks I get anymore. You know, back when I only had a handful of decks, I used them more often. But anyway, I go where I'm led and called when I feel led and called. Nine of Pentacles, the Eminence. And it's interesting because look, here's a Four of Pentacles. Here's a Four of Pentacles. So it almost feels like there's an encryption. And I know the Four of Pentacles can be like hoarding and what's the word for miserly, but it feels more like there's this dimension of protection and then there's this dimension of protection, like this one, this plane, and this plane. And if it's X, Y, Z, like that plane has one pentacle. There's one on the ground. Now, the Nine of Pentacles came out with the Three of Wands earlier. And the Three of Wands in this deck had the 4 coins on it. So that was a whole energy of protection that I didn't even necessarily know was there. That, when it first came out, it carried an energy of being so earthly focused. But anyway, let's see what's before and after the Seeker, shall we? Oh, it moved. It moved. First it was here. Now it's here. Oh, you can't see where. First it was like here. Now it's here. Usually I feel it like on the right side. It just moved. At some point, it moved. It's not completely right, but it's more right than left now. Okay. I'm trying to read the chat. Astral screams. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I would drink all of the tap water with all of the fluoride. Everything people say not to do. Everything that people said to decalcify your third eye. I do the opposite. I'm Scooby-Doo. I'm Scooby-Doo. I own it. I own it. I'm not trying to be brave. I'm kidding. I wouldn't throw myself in the water to get a lush afterlife with Ron and Igear. What? No. Why would I do that? It's officially 7-Eleven. Hey. You think just trying to be a good person and trying to better yourself is enough to get negative attention from yeah, true, very true. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you, Holly. Oh. Me too. I mean, I feel like, life in an astral vacuum, if that's what life outside the vacuum is, I might be good. This is why we don't look over the fence. I'm kidding. Let me stop. Because the more I kid, the worse it'll get. No. I feel like it wouldn't even be that bad, though. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, back to this. So looking before and after the Seeker. And it's interesting that we're not going for the Keeper, but at the same time, it's not. There's the Initiate. Where's the Seeker? Where's the Seeker? Oh, snap. Well, it's actually good. It's better in this deck than it is in the other deck. The Seeker it's in between 2 5s, the Hierophant and the 5 of Pentacles, which is interesting because the 5 of Pentacles is Taurus and the Hierophant is Taurus. This is Mercury in Taurus. Mercury's not in Taurus yet, but is Mercury going to retrograde in Taurus? I think Mercury's going to retrograde in Gemini, actually. I don't know if it's going to go back into Taurus, but it's going to cross into Gemini when we have the eclipse on the 30th. When Pluto is going to retrograde, Mercury is going to cross into Gemini, and then we're going to have the eclipse the next day. Those on the 29th, I believe. So, we got the 5 of Swords on the other deck, so all the 5s are here. And the Chariot. Why is this like run, don't walk? And this is the Papal Bull of the old Hierophant, which is interesting because of Gerd's protection. I feel like I'm getting like these different energy points all over my body, just like lighting up. First, it was in the front. I just got one in the back. The back left. First, it was the front left, and then it moved to the front more right. Then it was like the back left. First, this eye was feeling whatever. Now this eye is feeling whatever. Things are moving, I guess, apparently. But we did have the past and the future, the light and the dark, and one of the Odins saying, balance the contraries. At the same time, balance the contraries at the same time, we had Arthur and the Leper King, right? Well, let's see. Where's the Seeker? Oof. Oh, here's the Seeker. Ooh. I feel like this was not necessary. I feel like at least this part of it reads like everything else. So the Seeker and the Vitruvian edition is in between the Corruptor Seven of Cups and the Sacred Fire Ace of Wands. And this energy right here, it feels like that's very the domain of Duat. And again, like that was all about passions, desires, and stuff like that. I already put the book away. But it was like, is your heart pure? Are your intentions pure? They will be judged. They will be judged. And there's many ways to judge corruption or evaluate. What's also interesting is, though, because this feels like this is all Duat. The Vitruvian Seeker is bringing out the heart versus the feather on the scale. That I believe is on the Three of Swords. Isis is on the Three of Swords, the bereaved in this deck. It retrogrades at 4 degrees of Gemini and then goes back into Taurus. Is it going to hit the South Node when it retrogrades back into Taurus? So the with the Corruptor and the Sacred Fire, that's the domain of Duat's part about like the heart against the feather. Is your heart and intentions, are your heart and intentions pure? But this side, it's the beginning when it talked about the domain of Duat is one of secrets and mysteries and rituals and rites. But with the, I'm gonna just pull it out. I mean, it's literally right here. I'm just gonna read it because this seeker is going inside of the temple. The doors of the temple are open to the seeker. And that was like, it was a part that was like, life is organic, life is expansive enough to, in a lot of ways, Gaia reveals her secrets. She doesn't hide anything. But we have to, it's like some things we have to translate. And that was the part where it's like, you don't have to be initiated into this. You don't have to do these rituals and these rites to get access. You don't need your birth chart, your Enneagram, your gene keys, or your human design to know who you are, because you are who you are. Anything you can learn from a chart, you can learn from exploring yourself. Anything to learn of life and reality, you can learn by living life and being present in reality. But it's a lot of times it's hurt, pain, trauma on one side that take us out of the present moment and that shade our perception. Or it's past knowledge, experiences, and beliefs that get us to continuously interpret things in a similar way, to the point where we might miss something. And I feel like I just recalled a dream or something. See ya, Holly. Have a good night. It's been almost 3 hours. Oof. Um, because this Hierophant is the opposite of the other one. The other Hierophant is all about get to know the divine for yourself. Because if you go through the gate of the Hierophant permits and prohibits. And through the things that the Hierophant permits, as well as the things that the Hierophant prohibits, there are certain, and that came out too. It's like there are certain areas and aspects that are overly emphasized, and others that are either underrepresented, not emphasized as much, or we don't get any access at all. And so what it does is like we grow up with a very sort of skewed perception of things. I was trying to find this to read the domain of Duat, because I feel like it's literally this. Like this is her going through all of these sort of things, right? But this, the corruptor and the sacred fire, is the part about, again, like, is your heart, are your heart, I'll just read it. Reading it is easier. I'll let the book use words. Here it is right here. So the domain of Duat is the center of secrets, ritual, and mystery. In its temples and desert monuments, the true nature of being, reality, and creation are hidden, unlocked only by strict adherence to its rites and rituals. To dwell in Duat is to face the realities most hide from most thoroughly. How well do you know yourself, your desires, and whether your heart and intentions are pure? For in Duat, these will surely be judged. How well do you know yourself, your desires, and whether your heart and intentions are pure? In its temples and desert monuments, the true nature of being, reality, and creation are hidden. And so it felt like it was locking before, but I think that was another threat. I don't think I talked about it though, really. I don't think I emphasized it as much as I felt it. With Alfheim being as close to Midgard as it is, I feel like I overly emphasized how like there is a veil, there's a gate that you can't cross, that we can't cross, that was put there because Midgard is also connected to Svartalfheimr. They're all connected, and some energies will just use Midgard to go from low to high or from high to low. But it felt like with the energy of Freya New Beginnings, it was actually opening. That we were going beyond, that we're gonna experience more on the Alfheim side. But with those experiences come tests. And it's like it's not a test in the sense that it's a test. It's like if your parents are like, you know what, you're responsible, we trust you, so we're gonna relax your curfew, whatever. And you're like, okay, cool, because you're responsible. And then one day it's like you have a friend. It's very like, high school drama movie, whatever. Maybe it happened in real life, maybe it doesn't. Um, but it's like you have a friend who knows that you're responsible and who knows that your parents trust you. And because you're responsible and your parents trust you, like there are things that are eased on you. And so instead of them doing the thing, they get you to do it because you're trusted. So in a way, it's like they use the trust and rapport that you built up to get you to do something that then violates the trust that you were given. And it's like if it had been you sort of naturally, you wouldn't have done that almost. I feel like I kind of got lost in that metaphor partway, but it's like that's why like it's not a test, it's just like given. But then if we do something with what was given to us, then it might be taken back. Or there might be a reduction, or there might be limitations, there might a reduction in privileges, there may be an establishment of limitations and restrictions. Right. And it may not necessarily, I mean, part of the reason could be to protect us. Because we know not the things that we don't know. So it's like, hey, trust me, you don't want to. I don't know if you've ever jumped out of a plane with no parachute, but let me tell you, you probably don't want to do it because gravity exists. Maybe you can fly though. Who knows? I don't know. Jump out the plane. No, let me stop. Sorry. I'm assuming that none of you are impressionable, obviously. Take it as it resonates. Take it as it resonates. I relinquish all liability. I'm not responsible for anyone's choices and decisions. This is for entertainment purposes only. So if you make choices and decisions in your life, you take accountability and responsibility for those choices and decisions, not me. Okay. um but anyway, there because of Frey, it did feel like it was unlocking. It felt like it was opening up. It felt like we were getting more. And then that's when the energy of Amir and the title card shifted into that, which is like it's when you get the power or when you get a piece of that knowledge and understanding. But then it's like, what do you do with it? How do you, and that's where the corruptor, Seven of Cups and the Ace of Wands comes into play. That's when you get to see the truth of a person in some ways. Or at least you get to see where their boundaries are, where their limitations are. It's like I could get what I want by doing this, but that is against my moral ethical code. So I'll find a different way because I don't want to have to do that to get what I want. It's like, okay, that tells you something about that person. If someone's like, I don't care, I'm going to get what I want. It's not good or bad. There's no judgment necessarily. It just tells you something about who that person is and where their own boundaries and restrictions on themselves lie. And so, in that vein, in some ways, it's almost like the tests are never over in a way. But also at the same time, it's not really a test. And the example of the person who gets there, like, you don't have a curfew because we trust you. That's not a test to see if you're going to break your curfew or to see if you're going to do whatever. It's like, literally, we trust you and your judgment. And so we're giving the power for you to decide over to you. Because at the end of the day, the parents are still liable until that child is legally on their own. So some of the responsibility does fall back on them. And because the responsibility will fall back on them, do they not then get a say in how to reduce sort of the damage that they'll have to control and damage control? Anyway. You just float down on your inflated ego. Is one Hierophant Saturn with all that restricting? I don't think um I don't think I guess now that because of that question, it almost feels like that would be a Hierophant. Like that Hierophant might be a little bit more controlling because it knows that some things are a slippery slope and it knows human nature and it knows tendency to form addictions to certain things, especially depending on the state of the person, the state of the individual. So it's like that's a restriction, I guess. Yeah, going back to the parents, it's like that might be a restriction that's more so intended to help, but it's also important for a child as a developing individual to have experiences that help them grow into their individuality. It's like without pushing the boundaries and the barriers, how would you know where they are? How would you know what like is you and what is not you unless you experience it? And that goes back, I guess, to the thing earlier that was like, if you can't tell me what you want, like if you want the full course, you just try everything, like we can do that. But there's gonna be some stuff I can probably almost guarantee you're not going to like, but it's your right to try them anyway. And then we try them and like, oh yeah, that was disgusting. For some reason, I thought I was like, why is that me at work? But I'm like, I really didn't think it would be that much work when I was by myself. And my coworker was like, yeah, I thought it would be a lot. I was like, I don't know why I never think it will be a lot. I've experienced firsthand that it is, even when I don't think it is, because it's not a lot when there's two people. You know what I mean? But when you're the only person, then it is. Because not only it's like because it's a whole time thing too. Anyway, it's like one of those like it takes Sally 3 hours to do this and Bob 2 hours. How long would it take both of them to do it if they did it together? And if I'm Sally, 2 hours because Bob is doing all the work. I'm kidding. Anyway. But that's interesting. It's interesting that GERD is protection in a good way. Because offense is offense. And if we want to go onto the other side, then that's when the protection feels like it's not good or it doesn't work for us. But I think that's also where, sorry, I think that's also where a lot of that self reflection and that how well do you know yourself comes into play. Like, for example, personal anecdotal example, shout out to Rob Odinson. Like, I'm not a partier. I'm not a big drinker. I just know that about myself. And so there were some times when I would look on my college experience when I was there, or sometimes when I would reflect on it after, and it's like, man, I wish like I went to parties or did this or did that. But I'm like, just to have the experience, maybe, but like I already know I wouldn't like it. The one party I did go to because my Sagittarian bestie forced me, she strongly encouraged me to go one summer. I was like, as soon as I got there, I was ready to go. I was like, I don't like this. It's dark. It's noisy. There are a lot of people. I'm constantly bumping into people. No one's saying, excuse me. I'm constantly saying, excuse me, because I'm bumping into people. I'm like the Canadian in the room. Sorry, 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 sorry. So, and I was just like, no, that wasn't fun at all. That wasn't enjoyable. And it's like, that's something I knew about myself. Also, like, and like, I didn't really want to do it when I was there. But it's like it's part of the typical experience. So it's like it would have been something to tell stories about, I guess, but I didn't really miss out because it's not an experience that I wanted. Um, and I forgot where I was going with that. The protection. And so maybe that's what some of that reflection and introspection will reveal to us. Maybe there were things that we felt blocked from or things that we felt we missed out on, but it's like if we really think about it, there's a part of us that knows we didn't. It's like I didn't really miss out. I thought I did because of, where I was and where it was and how it looked at the time, but it's like maybe my desire to do that stems from this. hurt or pain that I was feeling. And so to be in that situation would have in some way kept that thread alive, because that's a choice that would have been made purely from that pain. So that would have served as an anchor for it, as it literally works into my daily life. Not everyone wants to be protected, I guess, long story short. Um, Enclosures can feel entrapping to some people. Some people are claustrophobic. But it does feel like Gerd is birthing something. In the expansion and contraction of these enclosures, it feels like that movement is pushing something somewhere, and then it's going to pop out. Maybe it's like housebreaking a pet. After they're not going to poop all over the place and tear everything up, you can leave the house for a certain amount of time and not put them in a kennel or cage or in the bathroom or a room where it's safe for them to do whatever they're going to do. It almost speaks of building trust. It does speak of building trust, which is interesting. Anyway, I feel like that didn't necessarily like fishtail. But yeah. But on this side, it feels like in being outcast or in not fitting in other places with the vagabond Five of Pentacles, we actually find what is for us with this Hierophant. Because this is not the Hierophant that sanctions and restricts and permits and allows like the old Hierophant. I'll read it from the book. I'll read you the two Hierophants from these two different books. I'll read the old one from the Vitruvian edition first so you can get an idea, and then I'll read the new one. Because when I read the new one, I was like, oh, snap, this is a completely different energy. This is the Hierophant I can get behind. Old Hierophant, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's how it's written. Maybe that was the interpretation of the energy at the time. So key 5. The Hierophant, the Holy See. When the Holy See appears to you, you are confronting. Oh, it was the Holy See before. It's the Hierophant now. When the Holy See appears to you, you are confronting what you have inherited and are now tasked to evaluate that inheritance with individual responsibility. This is the spirit of sovereignty over your soul purpose. When the Holy See appears to you, it's time to evaluate your material culture and social norms. Discern for yourself whose interpretation of the arcanes is the correspondence that rings true with your divine higher genius. When key 5 appears to you, take care that you are not following a false prophet. Restrain your indulgences. It said it more in the full entry about it allowing and restricting and stuff like that. The Hierophant is about confronting what you have inherited and evaluating that inheritance with individual responsibility. This is the spirit of sovereignty over your soul purpose. Divinity speaks directly to you and works through you, though the truth may be difficult to hear. The Hierophant is embodied by Maitreya, the Bodhisattva and prophesied future Buddha of loving kindness and light, greeting you at the gates of Tushta or Tushita, a celestial paradise. Alongside Maitreya, when the Hierophant appears, Ganesha's blessings are coming your way. Ganesha is the remover of obstacles, a deva of intellectualism, the arts, and science. And it's interesting because Ganesha is also associated in some ways with enclosures because of his ability to both destroy insurmountable obstacles, but to erect them as well, to create insurmountable obstacles. And 4 insurmountable obstacles is an enclosure. But it's interesting that these, like, they're associated with such like abundance and prosperity and like good stuff. Anyway, the Hierophantrix. I remember her. So you're saying FOMO is fake? I mean, it depends. Sometimes if I were a partier, if that was an environment, like if I would have loved that environment, but I didn't do it because the pain, hurt, and trauma that I was previously experiencing, then that FOMO would have been real. Because then that would be an experience that I wanted. But because I'm not a partier, the FOMO is fake news. Now, there were other things that I did want that I didn't take. You know what I mean? That was just one of the things that I didn't want anyway, so I didn't miss out. That was to elucidate that part of the example. So, uh, I feel like there's a very Rob energy here. Because I feel like I can literally hear Rob in my head saying stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, that's Rob. But I'm not supposed to be Rob. This just a Rob, from Rob's nod to mine, so you get a Patrick interpretation on top of it. But I feel like if it were Rob, I would have emphasized a little more, or spoke of a little more, the openness, rather than kind of sort of like assiding it and focusing more on the restrictedness. And so maybe that's just something for me to keep in mind moving forward. So thank you, Russ, for suggesting that I pull for Rob. And thank you, Rob, for being here and for the pleasure of getting to know you and watch your content to make this moment and recognition possible. Um, and it's literally how, like, sometimes you'll be like, that's a good message. Like, that's it. Good things are coming. Good things are happening, and that's perfect. Sometimes that's that's more than it. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But it also probably speaks to me as a reader. It does, definitely. Um, But like every time Rob was like, every time I pull for you, I feel like they're like, come on, like, what are you doing? I just got with that kind of journey. Apparently, I did have quite a bit to heal from though, and I do want a lot. I literally said I want everything, um, and so it requires a lot of everything to be in a position to receive everything, especially from a position where I couldn't receive anything. So. Anyway. Oh, thank you. No problem. Didn't necessarily plan on 3.5 hours, but that's fine. So, ooh. The card that came out is the Wish Granted, 9 of Cups, Jupiter and Pisces. Can you hear the helicopter? You heard it? Jupiter's flying in your wish. It's literally flying in right now. Jupiter breaking the sky. Back the rare gazelle, it was a few Pisces readings actually. Jupiter breaking the sky, and then the helicopter flying by. At the bottom of the deck, though, is the blind seer, the 2 of Swords. And on the other side of the 2 of Swords is the 9 of Pentacles, the Eminence. So that's not a bad spot to be in. If you're rocking hard places, the 9 of Cups and the 9 of Pentacles, are you really stuck? Or have you made it? It's interesting, though, that this is the wish granted, because the corruptor was the Seven of Cups, and this is even more cups. You get even more cups with less corruption. So, I mean, that's a win-win-win-win-win, right? That's a win-win-win chicken din. Win-win-win chicken din. And then I'm gonna get a last card for the other one too, because I want to shuffle. Shuffle. Jupiter leaves Pisces on the 11th, but it'll come back in July. Just like when Jupiter entered Pisces and then retrograded back into Aquarius. And then it came back. Oh, snap. Bigger cups. I forgot. Where are they going? I feel like it just went this way. Now it's going that way. That one sounds more like a plane, though. Because I can't hear the blades of the helicopter. Y'all hear that? Can y'all hear that or no? Put them cups in my face. I mean, they did say rob cups. Robbing cups. There you go. Oh, thank you, Russ. I saw part of your comment right before Eve said he and pushed it off the screen. Oh, thanks. You're the same. We're all beautiful receivers in our own ways, and it takes all of us to receive a greater understanding of the picture, because we all are different pieces of the puzzle and we hold different perspectives, and it's our perspectives that when they come together give us a better idea of the all and the everything within it. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate your appreciation for me, and I appreciate me being in a space to appreciate that appreciation. The Knight of oh. Oh. What is happening? There's another one. Okay, it's gone. What's going on in the air right now? Hello? Why is there so much traffic this late at night? What's happening? Let me motor both at 9 of Cups. Crime wave. Are they looking for the people? They got the helicopter out. You and Eve motorboating them Cups. I was thinking it, but there's also there's a hospital not too far from here, so sometimes they'll like fly out people to a hospital like half an hour drive away. It's a bigger hospital in a bigger city, so they airlift them over there when they need to. So I guess prayers for anybody who might be getting airlifted right now. Hopefully it's not a few people, because that was a few of them. They found me. It's because my window is open now. So the Herald of the Winds. I thought that was a knight. Ventures of the Dauntless came out. The heralds are messengers, and they come with messages. They are messengers that come with messages. And so I shuffled out another card, thinking this was actually the knight. And the Scarlet Shield came out. The Sanctum of the Valiant. The Ventures of the Dauntless brings forward the Scarlet Shield, who stands at the Sanctum of the Valiant. So I guess we're ending this with that Leper King Arthur energy. So there we go. That was interesting. I feel like there were a lot of parallels to the last time I went live. Because that makes me think again of the Leper King and the Poet of Avon. Um, but I guess 3 and 4 last time were more about like reaching that point where we decide that there are things that we have to do for ourselves. We just got to do it because we want something different. We want a different experience. We're tired of the hurt, the pain, the trauma, and whatever. But this one, again, I didn't necessarily talk about it as much when it was sort of coming, but it's like, congratulations, the gate is open. You know, we're going to be coming, it's like we're transitioning out of a transitory period and phase. And so what that means is with all the energy of the future and ideas and dreams and ambitions, not only are we going to start setting the foundation for some of those things, um, but it's like those opportunities are going to start coming in or trickling in. And it feels like it would take a certain amount of presence and awareness to claim all that it is that we had wished for, especially if we asked for things that at one point we would not have been able to receive for whatever reason. And it's not a test if you're being asked if you can receive it, it's an offer. You know what I mean? It might feel like a test depending on past experiences, but it's like a legitimate offer. It's like, this is yours if you want it. Are you gonna take it or not? You're like, I feel like this is a test, and because I feel like this is a test, I'm going to not take it, because if I took it, then I would be failing the test. And it's like how we kind of sort of psych ourselves out or overthink certain situations because of the connotation around the word test. And it's like, look, I'm literally delivering the thing that you ordered. So maybe you failed the test when you placed the order because I'm just fulfilling the delivery. I don't know. You clicked buy, okay? I don't know. I don't think it's that, but that necessarily. But to ask for new is a lot from something that was so structured. Um, and I think that's also the difference between like Hierophant energies, because the Hierophant represents so much structure and stuff like that. So just realize that I guess it'll take some adjustment as the things come in, and that a lot of the stuff is done. A lot of the work is done. We got to break it in. It's like a new pair of shoes or a house or a car or whatever. You get adjusted to it, and then it's like, you barely even notice. So with all that being said, thank you everybody for this extra hour of card pulling. I'm kidding. It was probably like half an hour. Thank you all for being here. Sorry I wasn't as attentive to the chat today, but I guess I'm not sorry, because like my brain already goes on enough tangents. So maybe this was just one where I was to be a little bit more focused. A little bit more focused. And by more focused, I mean just as tangential as ever, I guess. I don't know. So, did I already do the thing? I hope you all have a good whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. And until next time, have the most excellent whatever. If you want,